Hi, my name is Priya, and today I'm going to take you back to my first ever day at the gym. Are you ready?
Yes.
Yes? Okay. So when I first entered the gym for the first time in my life, I remember being very shy, very scared, and extremely nervous. So there was a coach there, and his name is Coach Rajiv, and today I call him Rajiv Sir. And so Rajiv Sir sensed my, nervousness. I was standing in the corner, and he came up to me and said, "It's okay, come, it's going to be fine. Don't worry. Join the class." And I sort of nervously found my, place at the back of the class, and the warm up started. So the entire warm up was pretty easy. So it went something like, there was the light jog, there was some, these kinds of movements, all easy, right? I could do it. And once the warm-up got over, and of course the warm-up felt like a workout, I was already panting. And then Rajiv sir told everybody, okay, go and pick up your barbell. And if none of you have seen a barbell before, this is what a barbell looks like. And this behind me is a 20 kg barbell, so the weight of the barbell is 20 kgs. But at the time he told me to pick up the lightest one, and the lightest one was around 5 kgs, so of course not that much. But when I went to the barbell rack, where the barbells were stacked, I basically went and tried to lift it up, and I just could not pick it up. And at that point I felt so weak because I was trying to pick up a 5 kg barbell just from the rack, and I couldn't even move it. Someone just had to help me out. And the reason why I was feeling so weak at that time, because I was at this phase in my life where I was at a competition with myself about how much weight I could lose. So at the time, I was around 50 kgs, and my goal was to get to 49.5 kgs. Sounds weird, but at the time, I used to stand on the scale every single day and I used to check, okay, I'm 50, the next year I was 49.5, and every time I was that 500 grams lesser, I used to feel so good about myself. And that whole obsession, I mean, I was obsessed with my weight, I was obsessed with being thin. All I wanted to do was just to look like this skinny girl, and that was just the image in my mind. And at the time, the only solution I had found to look like that was to stop eating. And obviously that sounds wild, because if you stop eating, that's extremely unhealthy for you, and that's exactly what was happening to my body as well. Yes, I was losing weight, but at the same time, I felt really weak. I felt mentally drained. I used to, in the evenings, my mind used to be, in a haze, but at the time it all seemed justified to me because that's what all the other 19-year-old girls at my college were doing. Now, the reason why losing weight was so important to me is because up until the time that I was 19 years old, when I, just entered college, I had been overweight for most of my life. So as far long back as I can remember, when I was in class 1, my memories go back to the time where I was extremely, chubby, I was extremely overweight. And being from a North Indian family, if any of you are from those homes, you'll know what the focus on food is all about. I mean, my sister and I, my parents took a lot of care of us, and the whole care meant that they used to feed us really well. And every day, we used to get an ice cream and a packet of chips after school. So it was, we used to go back after school, and my grandmother used to be there, she's like, please eat some food. And it used to constantly be surrounded by them trying to give us the best life that we could have. But for them, that really just meant pampering us through food. And I guess for a bit of my life, that was okay. Maybe till I was in, class 5 or 6, when it was all, you're chubby and cute, and, those aunts used to come home and pull my cheeks. But I guess when I started getting older and I really started looking at myself in the mirror, when the sense of self really sets in, that's when I realized that I just did not like the way I looked. I mean, I used to look in the mirror, I used to feel horrible about myself, and I knew that there was all this weight on my body, and I just wanted to get rid of it, and I did not know how to do that. Soon enough, I lost a lot of my friends. Boys, of course, never spoke to me, and that used to make me feel worse. And then the extensive bullying started in my school. So I remember there were these two boys. They used to make cartoons of me on the school board, and everybody knew it was about me. People used to laugh at me. They used to call me fat. They used to call me ugly. Many people said, we don't want to be friends with you because you look bad. I mean, this is the kind of background that I really came from. And from being a student who used to be really good at academics, I had a lot of potential. My teachers always used to tell me, you're doing really well. So from being like that A+ student, and always having my hand up in class, I went to being a child who couldn't even lift up her hand because she didn't feel confident about herself. And that really took a toll on my own self-worth. That was a very, very low time for me, and I did not realize that it was really mentally and physically affecting me to the point that it did. So when I came to college, and when I saw all these girls around me, who were really thin and sort of, that's exactly what I wanted to be like, I basically changed my relationship with food and I stopped eating. And when I did decide to do that first gym class, that's how I was feeling. I was feeling weak, I was feeling drained, and I couldn't even lift a 5 kg barbell. Anyway, fast forward to the class itself. So the workout started, and I was already tired. The workout started, and it was some crazy workout. Although it was for 10 minutes, I was on the floor. I mean, I was literally like this, lying on the floor after the workout. I was breathing heavily. I did not know what to do, and my mind was just racing. I was just thinking, why did I come here? Fine, I want to lose weight, and my goal weight is 47 or something, but if it means going to the gym and actually feeling like this lying on the floor, I don't want to do that. So I remember still being on the floor, and then Rajiv sir, who was the coach in the class, he came up to me and he said, Priya, it's going to be fine. Don't worry, it's your first day, it happens to everyone. I mean, this is not something that's only happening to you. And I got up, I looked around the class, and there was this one girl in the corner, and she was, she had a barbell just like this, and she was just doing her own thing, and I was just counting the weights on the bar, and there were like 50 kgs on the bar. And I said, oh my God, and I just looked at her and I said, so do you think I'll ever in my whole life be able to be like that girl? And he said, yeah, of course. I mean, that was the first time I'd ever heard something positive from anyone. He said, yeah, of course. In fact, that's 50 kgs, you can even lift 100 kgs. All you have to do is you just have to come to class, be consistent, and I promise you, you can actually achieve whatever you want to. And I mean, me, 100 kgs, that was all that was going on in my mind. I thought, you know what, I can never do this, I can never be here, that's too much of a goal. I couldn't even think about that because just in the class, I couldn't even pick up 5 kgs. And then he said the class was at 7 a.m. the next day. So just to give a context, I used to be someone who slept at 2 a.m. every day. I used to go out at night with my friends, sleep at 2 a.m., wake up and somehow rush to college. That was my life. So doing this meant waking up early in the morning, sleeping early at night. It was a whole change in my lifestyle. So I had to really think, did I really want to do this? Did I really want to give up my teenage life to be healthy? And then I realized that, for the first time in a long time, somebody had really believed in me. Somebody had really told me that I could do what I wanted to do. And that was such a positive thing that I hadn't heard for years. I never had my own level of self-confidence, and here was somebody who I met for the first time, and he had confidence in me that I didn't even have in myself. And I think it was that day that I really made the decision that, I need to change my life. I cannot feel this way anymore, and I'm going to set a goal for myself, and that goal will be to one day lift 100 kg. And at that time, it was such a huge goal in my mind, and the journey that I took right after that was one of the hardest journeys of my life. So, slowly and steadily, I started changing my life. I started sleeping earlier, and so it was, from 2 a.m. lights out, it was like 10:30 a.m. lights out. And my parents thought something was wrong with me because they had seen me actually going to sleep so late every night, and suddenly I wanted to sleep at 10. I used to wake up at 6 and run out of the door. They actually thought I was going to meet some boy. I mean, they actually came up and told me that I am meeting someone, and obviously I wasn't. I was just going to class. And the consistency that I maintained every single day, I was just, just determined that I have to go, I have to go. And that really started making a difference in my life. Soon I realized, that's not enough, that strength is built in the kitchen, so I really have to look at my nutrition. And slowly I started researching about nutrition. I started understanding, okay, what do I need to eat, what do I not need to eat? And there was no support around me. Nobody really was there to help me. But I started to enjoy the process of doing the research and then applying it all into my life. And sure enough, it started working. So I went from lifting, 5 kgs on the barbell to 10 kgs to 20 kgs to 50 kgs to 60 kgs. And the journey just kept going really well. But when I hit about 65, 70 kgs, I sort of hit a plateau. I couldn't break through that. And I used to come every day and sort of fail the same weight again and again and again. And that's when, my coach, he told me, he said, Priya, it's not a sprint, it's a marathon, it's a long-term game, so be patient, continue to do this every day, and trust me, you will get to that level. So after a lot of work, I put in a lot of work. It actually took me a few years, I would say, to get to a certain point. It was about 2.5 years, the work that I put in. And one day, there was a sort of a competition in my gym, and my coach told me, Priya, today is the day. Today, why don't you try to break the barrier of 100 kgs? And I was so nervous. I was extremely nervous, but I said, you know what? I'm going to give this a shot. So today, in front of all of you, I actually want to do what I had broken as my barrier. I want to show you guys what it's like to lift 100 kgs off the floor. So do you guys want to see that?
Go!
Amazing. I'm very nervous about this, by the way. I've never done this on stage. So what I'm going to do is, I'm going to ask all of you to stand up. Okay. And I want you all to count backwards from 10, okay? So we're not going to start with 100, we're first going to start with 90. And let's just hope and pray I get this right, okay? So, let me put my marker here. Okay guys, whose weight is 90 in the crowd? Oh, there we go. And I'm basically lifting all of you. Okay, so I want you guys to count, alright? Let's hope this works. And you can backwards from 10, okay? Start.
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Yeah!
Who wants to see 100? Okay, let's go. I'm going to put on 5-5. And I'm going to hope that thanks to all your motivation, I can actually do this.
Let's go!
Guys, I need a lot of cheering. Okay? Let's start the countdown.
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, let's go! 2, 1,
That was tough. Could have gone either way. Thank you, all of you can sit down. Thank you so much for motivating me. So now you all may ask, what's the next step for me? What's my next goal? And well, my goal is to achieve more, strive to be stronger. Strive to be stronger and work towards my goals. And in 2017, something amazing happened. I participated in the Delhi State Weightlifting Championship and I actually won the silver medal. And then I went on to get some certifications in fitness because that's something that I felt I really wanted to do. I've compiled a few tips for all of you where I see the intersection between weightlifting and entrepreneurship, and I hope that this will help you really understand how you can achieve your full potential and how you can achieve your dreams no matter where you start from. So first of all, I would like to say that anything is possible. You saw me, right from day one, being someone who'd never done anything in her life to going on to lifting 100 kgs, and today, of course, I'm much stronger. That itself gave me such a lot of self-confidence and self-worth to start my own organization to really achieve my full potential. So when I look at weightlifting and entrepreneurship, this is what I learned in my own journey. The first was set an ambitious goal but start small. I think in my weightlifting journey, I set a goal of 100 kgs, but I couldn't lift that on day one. I had to go 5 kgs, 10 kgs, 20 kgs going forward. Even in my journey as an entrepreneur, when I wanted to make sure that every child in India was healthy, that's a huge vision. So I started with one child, I started with one school, and slowly and steadily I understood what are the problems, how can I create a program that would work. And today the same program that I started on a very, very small scale is there in over 300 schools. So set an ambitious goal, but start small. There are no shortcuts. So of course, there are no shortcuts to achieving what you want to achieve. When I started on my journey, I realized that it would be a long time before I could reach where I wanted to reach. It took me years, and I'm sure that anybody who started a business will also tell you it takes a long time to really get to where you want to be. So there are no shortcuts, and don't expect to achieve a certain thing in a very short span of time. You need to learn how to adapt, you need to learn how to grow, and make sure that you take the longer route where you grow more than a shorter route where you're likely to probably fail. Your journey is your own. So I'm a very competitive person, and I sometimes get into the trap of comparing myself with others. And I think that's what happened to me when I was younger, when I was comparing myself with those girls. And that's when I put myself into a bad mental state. Similarly, today, if you look at entrepreneurship, there are kids who are 11 years old, 12 years old, starting huge companies, getting millions of dollars in funding. But it's always better to know where you stand and what your strengths are, so that you don't end up comparing yourself to others, and you can actually go on your own journey and hence do the best that you can. And lastly, I would like to tell all of you that you need to find what makes you love yourself. Because I believe that, me 10 years ago, I was very different. I was very underconfident. That time I could not have been here on the stage trying to make this speech, trying to lift a bar. There was no way. But I worked on myself. I realized that there was something I drew confidence from. That for me happened to be weightlifting. But for you guys, it could be anything that makes you feel confident about yourself. And you should not require another person's words to make you feel like you love yourself. And once you do love yourself, trust me, you can achieve your full potential and you can do whatever you want to do. So with that, and with my journey of sharing how I weathered the storm, I would like to encourage all of you, go find your ambition and go achieve your dreams. Thank you.